record here. All right, so what we're focused on today is tools and process, tools and process. If you're saying, but Colin, we did tools and process in week one, your tools are constantly going to change, your process are constantly going to change. What? Yeah. Um, and we just need to see the pros and cons. There's no perfect tool set and there's no perfect process. What's not going to change, right, is what's required of a web server, right? What's required of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Those things change very, very seldomly. It's one of the criticisms of the W3C working groups, and basically the people who set what these languages do is they don't move fast enough. And Google and Apple and Microsoft all push, and Adobe and Facebook, and why am I listing all these private companies? Because they all want to shape how the web works. So I'm saying all this because today is a tough lecture, not conceptually. Today is a tough lecture because it's like, watch my screen, then watch your screen, watch my screen, then watch your screen. And even when we do this in lab, it's a challenge and we have to go exceedingly slow. So you're going to probably be one of two things today. Really, really bored, like I can move really fast on my computer, like I know where all my stuff is. Or you're going to be really frustrated, like where are we? Where are my files and folders right now? And I've always said one of the hardest parts aside with our process is knowing where our files and folders are. File and folder structure are just one of the major challenges of web design. And that might seem like an overstatement and that might seem kind of weird, but it's what the browser wants. The browser wants to know where all the files and folders are. And you're a human being. You're like, I don't care. I just go open recently, or or heck, where are the files and folders on your mobile devices? They're there. You just don't have access to them, right? And so if you're the kind of person that runs an app in full screen all the time, right, and all of your apps you're just swiping left and right, and everything is full screen, this might be difficult. Now, those of you that are like have multiple windows and know where all of your files and folders are, this is going to be a little bit easy. Okay. All right. So your homework for last week was to get VS Code started. So that's the first place we're going to start. The first tool we're going to look at is VS Code. And let me see if I can do this while we're recording. I'm going to, well, let me know. Let me know if my screen size is too small for you. And then I can make it bigger if you have a hard time seeing it. But like we said, your homework for last week was to get VS Code started. And that's the first place we're going to start. All right, so what I need you to do is launch a VS Code and let's get started. All right. Let me close this up. Okay. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna share my screen, the entirety of my screen. I'm gonna go ahead and share a screen here. All right, actually for right now, we can just go ahead and, yeah, I have to share the entire thing. All right, you're gonna see yourselves, you're gonna see your faces. All right, so what we're looking at is the entirety of my screen. I'm gonna hide some of y'all. And so you got VS Code started. And notice this is version 1.45. Some of you might be running a different version. They're more similar than different, right? And I highly recommend that you just update this as regularly as possible, or even turn on auto updates. This has become the de facto text editor for web designers and web developers. And we can get into a big nerd fight about my text editor is better than your text editor. I don't care. One of the reasons we're using this is it's free, it's popular, and it's the same reason we use Photoshop, right? It's the most popular one. When I did this a few years ago, this wasn't the tool that we were using. So I don't like to get into the discussion about like, well, why can't I use this tool? It's just plain, it's just text at the end of the day. It's just text. And if you're really, really adamant about using a different text editor, go for it, right? All right. So, but for right now, I'm going to show you some of the features of VS Code that will make this thing easier. All right, so the first thing you're going to do is just go ahead and let's start a new file. You just go ahead, hit Command N. You're going to get a blank file like so. So I'm here in the welcome. I'm going to actually just close up the welcome, right? You should probably see something like this. And Command N, let's go ahead and make a new file. And we're going to save this. And today we're going to be working from our desktops. And one of the things I have you do in the lab is I always make you work from the desktop. but Colin, I don't like to work from the desktop. Well, I like to make sure that we're all in the same place. Okay, so if you know where your files and folders are, great. And if you don't, I highly recommend the desktop. Okay, but you got to know where your stuff is. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna name this file index.html. Okay, and then we're gonna go ahead and save. So we're saving our file to our desktop called index.html. And we went ahead and did that. And here, what you see is your username, right? Sorry, it's a user folder, your username, and desktop. And even if you're on Windows, you're going to see something similar. Okay, so but at the end of the day, it's all the same. I'm going to open a window right now, and this window represents my desktop. This is what's on my desktop right now. There's this folder, and there's this file that we just created called index.html. And so the first thing we're going to do is use our exclamation point and hit tab. And notice right here in this screen, this is really, really awesome. It's already detecting Emmet. So by default, we don't have to install this tool that was on CodePen for us called Emmet that allows us to do that. Okay. We don't have to install this tool that allows us to hit H1 tab, right? And then just type. So this is great. So I'm gonna go ahead and call this thing test page. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna do this all over again. Exclamation point tab. You're gonna title this document test page. Okay. And we're gonna go ahead and make something. This is H1 inside the body called test page. And at week 6 in the quarter, all of this should be familiar, right? We have been looking at this all quarter long. Again, what does CodePen do for us? CodePen says, well, we know that you need all that, so we're gonna hide that from you. We know you need all this, we're gonna hide it from you. CodePen says, we're just gonna have you focus on everything inside the body. Right now, what we're getting into is we're looking at everything now. We're looking at the raw source. We're looking at the source for all of our stuff. So there's 2 ways to do this. There's a wrong way and there's a right way, right? Well, wrong and right are too subjective for me. There's good, better, and best. So let's take a look at a good way to do this. So you want to see the result of this awesome website that you made. So normally what you do is you would take this index.html, right, which you need to go find on your computer. You can do one of 2 things. You can go look for that. You can just browse on Windows Explorer, or you can browse on the Finder on the Mac. Okay, and was anybody in this class using Linux? Anybody running Linux? No, nobody? Oh, all right. Someday I'm gonna get someone running Linux. Anyway, let's go ahead and you can click on this Files tab, this Explorer tab right here. And what this is going to do is show you all the open files. So you can toggle on this sidebar on and off. And for our class, this is where we're going to be spending most of our time here, is in this sidebar. Let me do this so we can see this. All right. So you can follow that path, right? You can nerd out and just follow this path. You can also control click or right click and go reveal in Finder, which will pop up the file for you in your Finder. Whatever you do, go find this index.html file. Right, Colin, you have spent 5 minutes on finding files and folders. Why is this so important? Because eventually someone in this class is going to run to the problem of, where are my files and folders? And I need you to be able to quickly find all of your files and folders. Okay, you need to know as a human being, right, making this stuff where all of your files and folders are at all times. Because if you don't know, the browser has no shot. Okay. All right, so now that I've done all that talking for something very, very minuscule, so here's my, I'm gonna go ahead and open this up now. And from last week, I talked about it on the Tuesday session, on the Thursday session, and as your homework for the Friday session is you're supposed to get Firefox installed, the latest version of Firefox. This is going to be our dev tool. And so what's nice about this right now, okay, all right, is this is our page, right? And right here, this is the file path. Okay, if I zoom in, can you all see me zoom in? Everybody, do you see me zooming in? Anybody?
No.
No. All right, dang it. Well, take a look at your URL bar. That is your local file path. Okay. All right. Take a look at it. Take a hard look at it. So it says file : // and then it gives the path to the users. If you know anything about Unix, right, that's your Unix path to all of your stuff. All right. I'm having you take a long, hard look at file colon, right? And it's going to go to find this folder called users. Inside of that, there's a folder called Manikoff. Inside of that, there's a folder called desktop. And inside of that, there's a file called index.html. Whew, that's a mouthful. Why are we spending time on this? Because we're not going to be using this. If you see this, you're doing it wrong, right? Not good, better, best, wrong. Why? Well, what we want is to be able to actually run this, okay? So today is awesome because your days of typing something and changing it and are over. Typing something and changing it are over. All right, so hang on with me. My open command works too. Thanks, Tim. Okay. All right. No, Kayla, Firefox, 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 Firefox. We are using Firefox for the rest of the quarter because we need to be all using the same dev tools. All right. So just go ahead and just drag and drop it into Firefox, close out Safari. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Good job. All right. So now that we got that, right, on my left is the text editor. Okay. And on my left is a text editor. On my right is the website. So the downside of this is you can't I don't have access to the website that you made, and you don't have access to the website that I made because this is a local version. This is the staging version. Okay. So what we want to be able to do, right, is have a local web server, right? We want to mimic what's on the web, right? With HTTPS, we want to be able to mimic forms, but we want to be able to do work with no internet connection. I should be able to come to your house and not only unplug your router, your Wi-Fi router, but actually take it. Right? I should be able to take your modem. I should be able to completely disconnect you from the internet, and you still should be able to make a website. Because the computers that you're on and the computers in your pockets can act as web servers. And this is a fundamental thing that I need you to understand here. So to get that happening, right, what we're going to do, okay, is first see some of the issues with this. The first one is, well, I'm going to call this thing test page, and I'm going to come in here and make a paragraph, and I'm going to hit lorem tab, okay, p tab, lorem tab, and I'm going to get a bunch of ipsum, and I'm going to hit save on this, and then I'm going to come in here, right, and the new nerd in me says, how come that didn't refresh? The old nerd in me says, well, you have to hit you have to come in here and refresh it. I'm like, roughin', scruffin', why do I have to do that? Why am I making such a big point about this? Because this is key to modern web design. Okay, so if I refresh this page, well, now I can see the changes. So now I'm gonna make more changes and hit refresh, more changes and hit refresh. As soon as you catch yourself doing that, you should stop. That's not our process. We saw our process on CodePen. What's our process on CodePen? If I come into here and type p tab, lorem tab, I should get something, and it should show up when? Immediately, without me refreshing the page. It should automatically react to that, right? So why am I having to hit refresh on this? Okay, those seconds are going to add up, especially when your sites get more complicated. Those seconds become minutes and hours really, really fast. So to get around this, VS Code and lots of other tools have what's called extensions, right? Photoshop has extensions. Heck, all your game consoles have extensions, right? The add-ons. Okay, essentially add-ons is another way to think about it. So what we want to do here's an image I show you in Sega Genesis, right? You can put this on my eval. It's Colin's always Googling for random things. But this is what I show in Web 2 when we talk about how JavaScript works, JavaScript libraries. You can buy a modern game console and you can add on to stuff, but this has been around for a very, very long time, right? And each add-on extends the functionality of the base application, of the base product, right? Can anybody yell out one of their favorite add-ons for any of their favorite products? Normally in class, someone go ahead and yell something out or put something in the chat. When is Colin going to get back to web design? All right. Like them, love them, doesn't matter. Aftermarket car add-ons are a big deal, right? So you buy your car, and then after that, you add stuff to it like, spoiler. Okay. What I'm trying to do right now, y'all, and some of you are saying, like, can we just get to web design? What I'm trying to do now is make you understand that show you that you understand this already, that this isn't a new thing, that you already understand this stuff. It's just packaged differently. Okay. All right. Ridiculous car spoilers. Let's see some ridiculous car spoilers. There you go. Aftermarket add-ons. Good. Look at that thing. Woo. That's something else. I'm going to leave that one up. That's so good. All right. So we're going to go to our add-ons here. Click on that. And what you're going to search for, right, and it's going to bring up these extensions, and all your favorite tools have extensions. You're going to look for this one called Live Server. Right, Live Server by Ritwik Day, not Live Share, Live Server. Okay, this is the one that comes up first. Live Server by Ritwik Day. Third time, Live Server by Ritwik Day. Hope I'm saying your. I hope Ritwik. I hope I'm saying your name right. All right, and you're gonna go ahead and install that. So I'm gonna pretend that it's not installed right now. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and hit install. Installing. Good. All right, so this should be installed, and then we can close up this tab. All right, I'm gonna do that again. I'm gonna turn on the extensions. Okay, I'm gonna open the extensions panel, and I'm gonna search for Live Server by Ritwik Day. All right, version 5.6. Okay, this is the one we want. We have it installed. And what this allows you to do, now this isn't a part of the base package of VS Code. We have to extend this. The same thing with the Firefox dev tools that we're going to look at next. It's an extension. It's an add-on, right? You do Chrome extensions on Chrome. You do Firefox extensions. You use, well, Safari doesn't have extensions. Edge has extensions. Okay. All right, so now that we got this, we're like, from nuts to this, forget this file stuff, right? I have to keep hitting refresh. Also, this is local, right? We don't want the file. We want to actually, so what you're going to do here is go back to your index.html, right, under your files tab. So for Web 1, we're mostly in the files tab. And once you have this thing installed, down in the, all right, I'm going to, right, what I want to do is launch Live Server here. Oh, where'd it go? Oh, I have to restart. Sorry. All right, it says I have to restart. So I'm going to close up live VS Code. I'm going to relaunch it. So I'm going to close up VS Code, relaunch it. And if I go to my index.html file there, I should get a live server preview. Let's see here if I have it turned on. Disable. Okay. Go back to index.html. I just had it up. Where'd it go? I don't want my console. Do y'all see live go live in the bottom right-hand corner? Do you see go live in the bottom right-hand corner?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead and hit that button while I figure mine out. Hit your go live button. Okay. All right, now then it should launch in your web browser there. Good. It should launch in your web browser there. Where is mine? Hang on. All right, do you see what happened to your URL bar? Does anybody read to me your URL now? Because it shouldn't say file anymore. It should say something else. What does it say? Anybody?
It's kind of like an IP address. It's like 127.0.0.1.
Perfect. That is what we're looking for. Okay. All right.
Hey, there's four of us who don't see at least four of us who don't see the live button that you're talking about.
I know. Where is it? This is what I get when I disable the, all right.
Hey, Colin, for mine, under where it says open editors in the left side,
Mm-hmm.
the extension live server right under the index HTML, and then that shows on the bottom right, go live for me.
Right. Walk me through that again.
So in my open editors, it has
Mm-hmm.
the extension live server right under the index HTML. And I think that's how I can go live.
All right. Yeah, run it from there. I don't know where they moved it to. Oh, updates. I should have ran this before class. All right, open editors. It should be right. There's my outline view. We'll talk about outline view later.
What I did was I closed my index.html file and then opened the folder, because that's what it told me to do, and then I got the go live button.
Oh, that's right, y'all. All right, we have to make a test folder, put it inside of that. Oh, because web servers need what, y'all? Files and folders. Thank you. All right, where is my friggin' live server? I'm gonna email Rick Data here in just a second. Where is it? Oh man, what a day. All right, it should be right there. Go live. All right, well, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to try to debug this on my end so I can, if you have it, great. If you don't have it, I'll re-record just a small segment on how to get that up and running. But it should just run from the folder. Oh, can right click, go live? I love that this is being recorded for forever, so everybody can see this. Not live share. Enable. It's enabled. Yes, this extension is enabled globally. Yes, yes. There it is. All right. Go back to your settings. Oh. Right. Find old live server. Okay. And just make sure that it's not disabled, that it's enabled. Okay. If you see the disable button, that means you're good. Notice in the bottom right-hand corner now that it says go live. So I guess this just is a whatever settings you have set up. But once you do this once, you shouldn't have to do this again unless you go to a different computer here. All right, so there's index.html. I'm gonna click on go live. And it's gonna pop open that IP address, and that is a local IP address that only you can access on your network. So what's nice about this, Colin, what's the benefit to all this? Like, why did you just waste 3 minutes trying to fix this? Is because if you can if your mobile devices are on the same network, you can actually see that, and you can make these changes, and you can debug with all of your devices in front of you. And it's a nice way to do this. It also does this, everybody. Ready? Gonna come in here and delete a paragraph. Hit save. What?
It's still not showing up. I don't know. I did what you did, and it's still not.
All right.
Not for me either.
Yeah. So I'm gonna hold on, everybody. At the end of class, if live server isn't work for you, I'm gonna have you share your screen and we can walk through it together. All right? Does that work? But right now, what I want you to see is, like, as you're making these changes, right? So we're gonna come in. I can come in here and I can change the background color on this. Okay. But Colin, you told us not to do inline styling. Yes, because we don't have a style sheet yet. But right. So notice it's gonna go to style body. I can't spell background. There's a background red. Notice I didn't hit refresh yet. There's background green. So we're getting that instantaneous feedback that we got on CodePen. Good, good. All right. Even if this isn't working for you, we will get the extension working for you. But if this is working for you, you're great. I want to move on to the dev tools. Okay, and you can use the dev tools with anything. All right, so let's get Firefox open. All right, we're going to slowly work our way into the VS Code. But for Web 1, I only have you install one plugin. For the other classes, I have you install the other plugins. Linda and LinkedIn Learning have an entire big course on all the features of VS Code. Right? You're not going to learn all the features in a 10-week class, just like you can spend 4 years using Photoshop and you're still going to learn new things. So what I'm going to do right now is let's go ahead and use launch Firefox, and let's go ahead and use the dev tools. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to google.com together. So everyone go to google.com. I'm going to stop sharing. Okay. And then I'm going to share my Google page instead. Okay. All right. So you're in Firefox. You're going to go to google.com. And what we're going to do here is we're going to walk through some of the features of the dev tools together. So this isn't about my browser is better than your browser. This is for designers right now, right? In previous classes, 2 years ago, Chrome was the best design and development tool, right, for designers. And right now it's Firefox, and that might change, right? Brave is another browser that's coming up. Yeah. Why am I telling you all these things? Because I just need you to be aware of the landscape, right? Has anybody used Brave browser? Right. Good. Use it. Try it out. Okay. All right. So what I need you to do is go to google.com. Okay. We're going to go to Google. And then what I want you to do is launch the inspector. Okay. We're going to get really good at the inspector, right? This should be second nature to you. All right. So we have many ways to launch the inspector. We can control click inspect, or right click inspect, launch it that way. You can nerd out and go Command Shift I, or I believe it's Control Shift. Basically, you're going to go to your menu. If you take a look at your menu, and you're going to go to Web Developer, you can see all of the tools there. Okay, Web Developer tools, and it shows you all the keyboard shortcuts. So go Tools, Web Developer, and what you want to be able to do is inspect element. And what I want you to do right here is go to the Google image, right click, right, inspect element, and then bring your cursor over that image right there, and you should have that selected like so. Okay. There is your Google image. Okay. So this is just a standard image, right? This is a PNG that is highlighted here. And from here, you can begin to make changes to this. So the first tab that we're going to look at is the inspector. This is the first tab. You can change the order of these tabs, but I like to stick with the defaults. Okay. We're going to be looking at the inspector and the style editor for our class. And now if you click on the style editor tab, you can see these are all of the style sheets and rules that Google is using just for this one homepage. And you can actually begin to see what is underneath the hood, right, on this design. So if we go back to this inspector and we highlight this element, go ahead and hit delete, and hit delete again, because there's two elements there. What you've done is you've essentially prototyped. Right? You are rapid prototyping, you're designing inside of your website. And this is awesome. Okay. And if we refresh it, right, as we saw early on, refresh it, all the stuff comes back. So you're going to be making sites, and then you're going to be tweaking it in here. So VS Code is where you're going to write the majority of your stuff. And then all of your tweaks and revisions should be inside of here. Otherwise, you're going to type something in CSS, look at its change, type something in CSS, look at its change. And that process is flawed. Okay. And so let's go ahead and do the same thing now. Now, instead of highlighting this image and just hitting delete and removing it, what I want us to do instead here is we're going to inspect this element, and we're going to go find and go take a look at our inspector and see where this actually is. And then what I want you to do is control click or right click, right? Edit as HTML. And this is just your standard image element, right? And I just want you to remove that for a second. Just remove it. Inside of there, go ahead and make an H1 and put your name. Right? And then and then you can click out of this, right? And there you go. You've just changed the design on something. And if you can change google.com, you can change your own website. And this is where we should be. So opening the DevTools is going to be, this window is going to be up all quarter long, right? And there's probably hasn't been a class session where I haven't popped open the inspector. You can always spot a web designer by the DevTools are constantly open. So the other thing we can do with this is not just change the HTML, like we just changed the HTML. I'm gonna refresh this page again. And yeah. So we also can change the styling. So let's go ahead and select the body element. So I'm gonna refresh the page, select the body element. Now let's say you're on the Google design team, right? And you're like, Valentine's Day is coming up, right? Or you're working on here, better yet, or you're working on the Halloween website. And you're like, well, we're going to change the background to orange. So if we select the body element, we can come over here and find the background property, right? And the color picker here. And you and your design team can say, hey, what about this hue of orange, this hue of orange, right? Versus you typing something, hitting save, typing something, hitting save. Like this is a faster way to prototype, right? Why am I showing you this? Because I care greatly about your time, right? There's two ways I could do this, not tell you that the modern process and go he, look at them struggle, look at them waste their time, right? Or we can learn the modern process and like save a whole bunch of time. Right? So, and then we can say, hey, the dev team, that's good. And then once you have that, you can actually copy that value. You can copy all this out now, right? And put it into your page. So let's say I wanted this color, right, for my website. Well, now I can do that. I can paste that in to my website, right? And if I bring it up again locally, right, you can see now, right, what screen is showing. What screen did you see now? Anybody? Sure.
So your face.
There, do you see the test page orange? Thanks,
Yep.
Blake. Yo face. All right, good. And we got this by using the dev tools. And this is a small thing. Without hyperbole, if you take this away from me, I'm finding a new line of work because my days of guessing about what the browser wants are over. Right now, me and the browser and I can actually talk to each other. Right? Go into the console right now. Right? So if you actually just go into the console tab, we want to nerd out for a second. We can do this thing called console.log and we can type out a message. Right? And this is me talking to the browser, right? I gotta turn on logs here, right? Look, the browser's talking to me. Okay, I can go type in alert, okay, and then alert left paren, in single quotes, right? You can type in or double quotes here, double quotes like you, right? Hi, exclamation point, exclamation point. Okay, type that in and hit return. See what you get. The browser, you're responding to the browser, you can see all of the stuff. And by Web 2, you're going to be able to do this, right? You can actually see all of the stuff that makes up the browser. Look at all that goodness. This is all good stuff, by the way. Okay. Transparency, we can see everything Google is doing, good, bad, and indifferent in any other website. There's also the network on here. You can see how performant a website is. You can measure its performance. There's just so much stuff. All right, but where we're going to be spending time in Web 1, okay, is mostly using the tools for Grid and Flexbox, right? These tools are great to help us see what's happening on a page. All right, so there is Firefox and the dev tools. The last thing I want to show you is the responsive design web tools. But Colin, how come we haven't gotten to responsive design yet? And how come you're still talking in third person? It's my gimmick. Go ahead and click on into the far left here. There is the responsive design mode, like so. And what we can do with this, and I teased a little bit of this last week, is you can go ahead and grab this and without resizing your window, you can resize your websites. And you can see right here, the Google homepage isn't responsive. But if we go to ew.edu, right, and we can see how it looks on desktop, on tablet, and shrink it all the way down on mobile without having to refresh the page, right? And normally in class, this is where I make my slow clapping motions. Right? And we can even change the portrait orientation. We can also even set, like if you're always working with the same device size. I was designing a display for a packaging machine that had a web viewer, and we set the dimensions on this machine, on this physical machine that made boxes, right? And we're able to come in here and make custom size. The big thing to take note of, if you're going to take a call-in class here, is down here is a television. This is the future, by the way, right? Seeing big is the new small. Your future websites are going to be in your TV. In Web3 classes, have you set up a Chrome OS, and you can look at your websites on your big TVs. So, but that's a different class. Good, that's what I mean, custom device size. All right. We could be here for 10 weeks going through all the DevTool features, but we're not going to. Good. Notice right here we get the slider, right, and we go to desktop. We don't get the slider. All right. There's the Firefox DevTools. The last thing we need to see. I'm gonna stop sharing for a second. The last thing in our tool set here. I'm gonna go back to the desktop sharing here. The last thing in our is our process. All right. Can everybody see my desktop? Blake, help me out.
Yeah.
All right, Kayla, thank you. All right, what I want you to do is get into Netlify. Let's go to Netlify. This is where we're going to end today. All right, get into Netlify. Go ahead and log in. Now, it was asked in last class, and rightly so. It was like, well, once I put my website up in Netlify, how can I edit it? And in Web 2, I teach you a thing called version control, right, where you have an entire history. And I get you introduced to that with what Netlify gives you this for free. And long story short, it's free now, but this used to cost us a lot of money to get this type of versioning. And you get the same versioning with Dropbox and all those other services. So go ahead and go into your website. Okay, go into your website. And then go to deploys. We're going to move a little slowly on this. Okay, go to website, go to deploys. I'm going to go ahead and delete that test folder there. And then under deploys is all the times that the site has been updated and launched. And everyone thinks I'm exaggerating when I say I should be able to walk up to you, take your laptop away and lock it in a box, right? The elementary school teachers call this the June box, right? That if you get caught with a toy, they put it into a box that you're going to get back in June. Right? I should be able to take away any device and you should go, whatever, I'll go make a website on a different machine. And that's important. Like that is one of the big things that we're learning in this class. So go to your last deploy where it says published and anywhere in this white space here, go ahead and click on it. And this will show you all of the things. And your team needs to see this. Your team needs to see like what went wrong, right? So obviously down here in the log, nothing went wrong. And sometimes things go wrong and you can come back and you can see like there's no hiding, right? This is the time of day that I posted this and your clients can see this too. And this is how I needed you to get used to working. Your team can see this, your clients can see this, your bosses can see this. They can see when you do work. And that's not such a bad thing. And we have to get used to that. Now, what is a bad thing is this really small icon right here. So right now, if our computers catch on fire, you should go, I'm going to go to a new computer and I'm going to go download my website and I'm going to get to work. All right. So right here is this little icon. Go ahead and click on download with zip. And what Netlify is going to do is package your website and you can click on the download and then I'm going to save this download to my desktop. Right. But you can always choose other locations. I'm going to go ahead and save that. Right. And then once I saved it and it's downloaded, all right, so if you can see my desktop now, I'm going to take this zip file, I'm going to extract it. And if I take a look at inside of the zip file, there's my website. Let me quit that for a second. Right. There is my website. And what are we going to do? We're going to take our website and we're going to open it in what application to edit it and make changes to it? If you tell me, I can let you go home.
VS Code.
VS Code. Yeah. All right. That one always gets the students' attention. All right. So now that you got that, you can go to index.html. You can click on Go Live. And boom, there's our website. And notice that it has 1.2.0.0, right? This is the local version. Now I can come into here and I can completely like mess up my website. Right? Like, I messed up my website. Right? I can completely mess this up and hit save and like, oh, I messed up my website. Look at it. It's gross. Well, guess where, right? Or my computer can catch on fire. It's still safe on here. And this is the modern process, right? After your files and folders are the most important thing at a company, right? The first important thing is the employees. The second important thing are the files and the folders that the employees produce, right? And you want to make sure that stuff is safe, right? So if your computer gets hacked or you have a bug and you lose the website, you're like, yeah, no problem, right? It's still safe up here on Netlify. Okay. And if we wanted to make a change, that's what we're going to do next class is we're going to make our changes locally and then deploy them remotely, right? Work local, go live. Work local, right? Go live remotely. All right, that was a lot of talking. Any questions? All right, if you're still having issues with VS Code, hang out and we'll try to resolve those together. Otherwise, practice your process, right? Practice downloading your website,